Hello everybody, this is Graeme and today I'll be looking at Herrlof. This two-player game takes place in Scandinavia during the Viking Age, where the title of king is fought for. There are 4 magnates in battle for Herrlof, and the winner will become the next king. This theme unfortunately has little to nothing to do with the actual gameplay, as this is actually a 2-player trick-taking game where the winner will be decided after 10 rounds or when someone reaches 50 points, whichever one comes first. Now if you've seen some recent 2-player trick-taking games, this game might look a little familiar, but will this game be worth fighting for, or should we just turn around and ignore it? Let's get it to the table, see how it's played, and I'll come back for my final thoughts on Herrlof. So this is Herrlof. The deck is made up of 42 cards, 4 colors or suits of 9 cards each, and then 6 special cards. The game is played over 10 rounds of 15 tricks, or, more likely, a player reaches 50 points. All the cards are shuffled and 15 are dealt to each player. The remaining 12 cards are placed in a pile and the top card of this deck is turned over, and this card represents trump, or the most powerful color this round. Each player will look at their cards and then bet on how many tricks of the 15 they think they will win. This is kept secret until the end of the round. Players will then battle for the 15 tricks in the round. To do this, the start player will play 1 card from their hand. The other player, if they have a card of the same color, must play a card matching that color. If the second player does not have a card of that color, they can play any card from their hand that they want. Once both cards are played, you check to see who won the trick. If both players play the same color, then the higher card wins. If the second player played a card from a different color, and that color is not trump, then the start player wins. If the second player played a card of a different color, and that color is trump, then the second player automatically wins the trick, irrespective of the number played. The winner of the trick will take the cards played, then they will be the start player for the next trick. This continues until all 15 tricks have been played, then the round is over. When the round is done, you're going to score. You will receive 1 point for each trick that you have won, then both players will reveal their predictions. If you're exactly correct on your prediction, you'll receive an additional 10 points for the round. And if you only won 3 or 4 tricks, you'll receive an additional 5 points, even if this was not your prediction. If someone has reached 50 points, then that player is the winner, or if it's the end of the 10th round, the game is over and the player with the most points is the winner. Now there are 6 special cards in the game that can change the flow of the game. If the Valknut is played, the trick is discarded after both cards have been played and nobody gets the trick. If 2 Valknuts are played in the same round, a new card is drawn to replace the trump card. The Hagalaz is lower than all other cards played. However, it also means that the loser of this trick will start the next round. If 2 of these cards are played in the same round, then the first player will actually win the trick. If you win a trick with a 1, you may choose to steal a trick previously won by your opponent. If you play a 3, and as soon as it is played, you'll draw a card from the top of the deck and discard one of the cards from your hand. It can even be the card that you just drew. If you win a trick by playing a 6, you'll randomly take a card from your opponent's hand. You'll then give them back a card from your hand, and it can be the same card you just took. If you win a trick by playing a 9, then your opponent will start the next trick. So, that's how you play. Let's get back to see what I thought about Herrlof. So, theme and components. I'm going to quickly skip the theme, as the entire theme is written on the front page of the rulebook and nowhere else in the game. Now, I'm not going to hold that against it, as it's a 2-player trick-taking game. I'm not expecting much theme from that. So we go on to the components. They are fine. I do have few minor complaints. I understand that this is an international game. And I do like that they give you a kind of cheat card, but I wish this text was on the cards itself. I'm also not a big fan of the fold-out rulebooks. Again, this is just a personal thing. I'm just not a big fan of these. The rest of the components, they're fine. They're 42 cards and a pad of paper. There's nothing wrong with them. So on to the gameplay. For the most part, I like the gameplay since it's like games that feel very similar to this one. One of the things that this game does introduce that I've not seen before in a 2-player trick-taking game, but I see quite a lot in regular trick-taking games, is a prediction, where you're trying to guess how many tricks you're trying to win. This is interesting, and being able to manipulate the tricks through the Valknut or winning a trick with a 1 card gives you a little more ability to control how many tricks you have. I would have loved to have seen an ability to take or give a trick to your opponent as well, just to further round that mechanism out. So if you take the prediction phase out, what about the actual gameplay? Now it's hard. When I was playing this, I kept on thinking, I've played this before. Some of the abilities on the cards are identical to other 2-player trick-taking games, namely the Fox and the Forest. It might be a little unfair to compare that game, but they are so similar in card mechanisms that it's kind of hard not to. This is not a bad thing. I really like The Fox in the Forest, and to have a game that feels almost like a variant to that game means that I may like this game more than if I just played it in isolation. Now, there is one thing that I was not a fan of in this game, and that's the end of round scoring bonuses. If you won 3 or 4 tricks, you almost get like a catch-up 5 points. What about 1 to 2 tricks? Why no bonus there? And if you win all the tricks, you get all the trick points. This means that a hand of high cards is better than a hand of low cards. Yes, there's the prediction aspect. But if I know I have a good hand, and you know you have a bad hand, then our chances of predicting correctly are about the same. You know, there are 15 tricks between players and 12 cards not going to be in play. So my lucky hand, it could be better than yours. It could have been handled differently as it is in other games, but the way it is in this game just doesn't feel smooth. So would I recommend this game? This is tricky. If you've never played a 2-player trick-taking game before and this was on the shelf, I would say sure. But if you had a choice of other 2-player trick-taking games, I don't think I would recommend this one over the others. So I like that the game is simple to play, and like other trick-taking games, still gives you the pressure of making the right decision on what card to play and when to play it. And with a prediction mechanism, this can become a little more tense, which is nice. I also like the additional 2 cards, the Valknut and the Haglax, as they added a little something different to the gameplay. And actually there is a 3-player variant in the rules, I just haven't played it that way. It is a fine, solid game that adds a few minor tweaks to the genre. But for me, the biggest issue is those little tweaks don't make this game stand out, especially when some of the abilities are identical to other games. I was not a huge fan of the round scoring. It feels clunky and unrefined. I am not a fan of that 1 point per trick. The prediction piece, I guess, is there to offset the luck of having a better hand, but then we both have the same chance of guessing the outcome correctly, so I don't see how the prediction helps one person or the other. So I'm going to give this game a 6 out of 10. This is an adequate 2-player trick-taking game that has, unfortunately for it, many other superior 2-player trick-taking games coming before it that it's going to be compared against. And that's it for the moment. Until next time, thanks for watching.